Let me go live on the Insta. I gotta remember that to ask. I gotta remember to ask people to like and subscribe and all that good stuff. All right, I think we almost there, folks. I'm now live on. I'll go live on the. There it is. What is up? We are here. I see it. I see it. I heard my echo back there. What's going on, folks? This is Courtney Rollins with members of the Aqua Team back here for our Thursday sales training. What is the Aqua Team? What is sales training? Well, the Aqua Team is a company that is designed and on a mission to help folks solve problems and really create opportunities for income and wealth leveraging real estate. We are marketers and real estate investors who go out there and primarily, what's up, the Bird Princess? We primarily help, we just source deals. That's what we do. We source deals. And once we source the deal and get it at a discounted price or at a price that makes sense or terms that make sense, what we do next is really up to us. We either can keep it for ourselves and buy and hold on to it we can burn it out, the Bird Princess. We could buy, rehab, force value, and refinance and keep going. Or we could fix it in what they call flip it, put it back out there. There's so many things you could do. We could turn it into a note and become the bank. But primarily what we do to increase the income in our coffer is we assign it to investors. So we provide the opportunity for other investors to do those exact same exit strategies. But it all starts with sourcing deals. And I'm very privileged and blessed to have a team around me that helps us do that. And we practice every day. We work on a little personal development because we know it all starts here. And every Thursday we spend some time up here, sometimes live, and definitely record it and put it out to you all to practice those skills. And before I introduce the folks on the team, I just want to ask you all, the favor is to go to our YouTube page, Aqua Team Properties, do REI deals, and subscribe, follow us on Instagram. Go check out the at wholesaledeals.com if you want to, what they say, squad up, borrowing from Wholesale, and he can Pace and Jamil and all those folks. If you want to link up and do some deals, or you want to take some opportunities for yourself, that is our ask. It helps us get more eyes out there and help more people and increase our, our value as well. So without further ado, I want to introduce a couple of folks on the team. Folks, both are relatively new to the Aqua Team, but are already like superstars out here. So, hey, Brian, man, how you doing? He's the acquisition manager. How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing well, trying to get this camera set up with my ironing board standing desk, but doing great. How about you?
Hey, I'm great, man. You looking good though, man. You looking real great, man. Heck yeah.
Trying to get like you, man.
Hey, and then the next brother we have, man, I call him Q Sav. He is one of the youngest members of the Aqua Team and one of the rising stars too, man. What's up, Quentin? How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Blessed, man. I'm blessed, feeling magnetic. Yeah, why don't you tell them what you do for the team, Quentin?
Well, I'm in charge of most of the cold calling and prospecting. So every day I make about 250 calls to people on lists that are gathered for me and see if they're interested in selling the house. Absolutely. And one of the things that we try to do is we really try to, like my job as CEO is really to try to help make the systems as clear as possible and help make the vision as clear as possible, but that's not a one-person job. And so the other day we're having our meeting and Brian was asking the question, hey, so what is the SOP, standard operating procedure, for contacting these leads? And it's so funny because we're a small group and we're missing our lead manager up here today and my business partner, the disposition manager, and my inbound manager, my mom. She's usually not up here though. But regardless, oh, and Talima, I got to shout out to Talima. We have a new member, Talima, who's actually helping us generate leads, driving for dollars. She's probably out there driving right now, picking up leads. She just started this week, so super excited for her. But regardless, sometimes when you're just grinding it out, you forget about the systems and processes that you're going through. And if you're not documenting, if you're not thinking about replacing yourself or making sure that you are replaceable by making sure someone can step into your role, then you're not really creating a sustainable business. And this stuff is super fun for me and it's exciting. But I know that, like, again, our job is to help them have clear systems. So, man, and
and all ideas are welcome. So that was a dope idea, Brian. I did spend a little bit of time jotting down and a little bit clearer steps. And that's what I wanted to go over today. This is a raw version of it. I'm going to put in the YouTube the link for the Google Doc if you are out there and you want it. And whatever reason, yeah, you don't see it in there, or just holler at me, DM me, text, and we'll make sure you get over to it. But you guys want to take a look at it and see what it looks like and offer any feedback or advice. I haven't even showed it to these guys yet. So let's see. Boom, 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 boom. All right, so I think you can see my screen. What happened? Video paused over there? I hope it's still up. All right, regardless, it don't matter. We got this on YouTube. So this is going to become like a glossary and communication cadence. And so you see the objective, the team will be able to know when acceptable time to call leads, seller, buyers, title company, whoever we're speaking to, know the appropriate like communication cadence for the leads, understand what the tags stand for, and know the sequence of each drip campaign. So a lot of times folks ask like, yo, when should I call? Matter of fact, I was on the shout out to the Learning with the Wholesale Queen, Sheena Mullins. I was checking out her live earlier. And some folks asked like, when is the appropriate time to call? And yeah, Brian, I think you got some good advice on that. What would you think if you're telling folks out there a good time to call leads in general?
I remember being on a call with one of my training managers from my 9 to 5, and he was like, you know, if I want to leave a message, I'll call him during the day, and if I want to actually talk to him, I'll call him after work. And I try to think about myself, like if you try to call me or my wife and get us between 8 and 5, we're working, we're with the kids, we're doing something. So you know, sometimes we overthink, and I think the times that we're available are the times when most people are available, and the times when we're busy are the times when most people are busy.
Right. Yeah, and I agree. And I think you even saw that, Quentin. You've been calling in the evening, right?
Yeah, it's the same thing basically. Like try to call after 5, maybe 6 o'clock. Try to get people. That's usually the best time I get people. LLCs though, like, cause I did a couple earlier this morning. It's like probably around like the 11ish.
Right.
Like they usually answer around that time, but for most people, I would say like 5 or 6.
And that's funny because I think you can even look at some data. Don't quote me on it. I should find the research, but the data says like after 5 is the highest chance, and for some reason between I think it's 9 and 11. I've heard the gentleman say Eastern Standard Time, but don't quote me. There is a section of time in the morning for some reason that people who have tracked cold calls have seen that people get called. But primarily, I would agree. But if you're out there on YouTube or Instagram and you're watching this, the time, it is important to call during those times, but the most important thing is that you actually call and that you are consistent with it. Don't let things be an excuse like, oh, well, I got to work in the evening or whatever. What works is what you consistently do. And I would say for me, 8:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. is open time. But if you want to increase your rate of contact, then calling, those times that we just said would be very, very ideal. I think on the weekends too, if like you're door knocking, getting out there before the sun, before it's too hot, 9, depending on where you are, but between 9 and 11 is really awesome. Sundays, some people feel funny about calling on Sundays. That's really up to you, but a lot of people are home. And if you try to do what other people aren't willing to do, then make it happen. But if your main form of prospecting or marketing is calling, then I think you should really consider those weekend calls as well. And remember, you heard me say a couple of times, we are marketers. How many times do you see commercials, pop up? How many times do you see stuff come in people's mailbox? We got to get the message out. Coca-Cola is constantly selling Coca-Cola. It doesn't stop and rest on its laurels. Like, okay, we good. Coca-Cola is constantly telling folks that, hey, we're out here, we got value, and that's for any product, any service product, any industry. So Aqua Team, you out there, you got to constantly, consistently be in front of your sellers, especially if you're if you're a wholesaler. So our team members, like this is a cue right here. And I was trying to write this so that, let's say the teams change 5-10 years from now, it can just be updated, but we still, this is somebody anyone can take. So we got our sales prospector, cold calls and disqualifies and qualifies leads. The lead manager, that person ranks the leads, make sure they get to the acquisition or acquisition sales. And you can change these names out, whatever your company is calling it. And again, I'm gonna say this other thing too. It may be just you. I still think that this is an extremely valuable tool. When me and Shanita was just me and her, we still set out and use the book Traction right here by Gino Wickman, and laid out our entire, what we need to do, our entire team, all the roles. And even though our names were beside all of them, we still had the vision of like, okay, this is the roles that need to be played. So even if you're a solopreneur or it's just 2 or 3 of you all, make sure that you have distinguished roles and know that you're wearing different hats at different times, so that when you are ready to fire yourself, it will be much smoother transition. So anyways, the acquisition manager, that's the person who continues to follow up, and further qualifies the lead, prepares the lead for the purchase or the offer or the appointment or the handoff to the acquisition sales. And the acquisition sales manager is, and you see this almost going through the sales process. This person continues to follow up and lead the lead, they don't like that, and lead the lead to the end of the sales process. Continue to maintain rapport the whole time, continue to try to understand the pain point that everyone has been establishing and pulling out, again, setting appointments and making those offers. So each person has like a priority behavior, but each person is still a part of the sales process. And hell, each person could take it to close. Q might get on the phone and one day, oh, I got a lead and ready to just close. It may happen. The lead manager may, the acquisition manager may, acquisition sales manager might. So it's don't limit yourself in thinking that just because you have that particular role, that's the only thing you can do. But that's should know that's primarily what you're gonna do. And gentlemen, please stop me at any time if you have anything to add or questions or whatever. I did add 2 things up here that I need to flesh out more. As we think about expanding our buyers list, and this is another conversation Brian and I had before, and Shanita and I, but having a sales prospector that's dedicated to your buyer. So I didn't know if maybe I call this buyer prospector, but anyways, disposition sales prospector. You pull a list of cash buyers in a particular zip code, and you're calling them and qualifying those prospective cash buyers to discover their buying criteria and to add them to the buyers list. That is an amazing, awesome thing to do. You could even add prospective cash buyers and realtor, buyer realtor agents. So this is live. An amazing tool. I know some people that's all they do is call realtors all day, or maybe even just 10 realtors a day, constantly developing that relationship so they can get a symbiotic relationship going on where they're sharing leads that they can't use and they're getting leads that the seller can't use. And again, back to the conversation with Brian, realtors are able to do so many things, whether comping your deal or sometimes even showing the properties that you have under contract. Amazing strategy. But anyways, I think that's a cool team member to have. And then you have the disposition manager who follows up with buyers, continues to maintain relationships. These buyers might be present and future partners in different ways, lending or equity or joint venturing or partnering by you assigning the contract. So let's look at some of these lead categories, and these will be some of the tags we use. So we have the cold call prospect. This lead is unqualified. We don't know the intent of if the sale is known. The lead is qualified by the sales prospector, and that's QSAV right there. And he discovers the condition of the property, the price. The lead is considering reason for selling, motivation, pain point, timeline, CPR. So you'll notice a common theme. He's going to qualify or disqualify this lead and continue to gather that information, continue to establish a rapport, showing Aqua Team's values or your company's values. And then once it's qualified with a yes or maybe, by having any of those points, and maybe I should be more specific right there. When we talk about those times, CPR time, if he has 1 or 2 or 3 of those established and it's a yes or a maybe, then he's sending it on to the lead manager, all right? Then the lead manager will either know from after looking at it whether it's a discovery, a warm discovery, or a hot warm. So a discovery for us in our company is the lead's desired closing time or is unknown, or some other qualifying factor is unknown. It needs more information. You know, we say CRPT, we call that CPR time right there. The lead goes to the lead manager, and their objective is to further qualify, prepare to hand off or set up appointments for the acquisition sales manager or to the acquisition manager. Now, when it's warm or discovery, this is usually like, you know, they're ready to go, but they're probably not ready within 60 days. And maybe you only have two other qualifying factors like the condition or the price. Or you know it's a reason for selling, but you need to discover a little more. And the acquisition manager continues to, you know, establish rapport, find the pain points, the motivation, continue to dig on that, continue to just, you know, help them understand when and how they need to, you know, get to the next part of the sales process, and either prepares it for a close or a handoff or a setup appointment for acquisition sales manager. And then occasionally, maybe I should put this in here, after it's been exhausted for almost, we'll go over the cadence down here. It may even go back to the lead manager for to just keep in the Rolodex so we can, you know, have a different form of follow-up. Now, a hot warm lead, this is like within 60 days, you know, the CPR time, you know, the pain points that need to be addressed. And still doesn't mean it's like pops off there, but this goes to the acquisition sales manager to help them get to the close or get to the appointment and make those offers, make offers. Okay, so those are the categories. Maybe I should put these on different pages or give it to somebody, make it look all pretty and neat. Now the cadence, you're going to notice a theme here, and this is where I really think, I'll just start right here real quick to say that this is great to have, but some of this is also an art. You know, we have human beings we're dealing with and human beings on your team, and we have on our team amazing smart folks that are out there. So some of this, it isn't like lockstep, you know what I'm saying? Some of it is like, if you use your own intuition, some things are subject to change because every cell is different. Just like we were talking about yesterday, Q, every person, every human is different. They got their own situation. So active listening will allow us to respond in a way that's appropriate. But by and large, here's the situation, the communication cadence, and the corresponding drip campaign name that will go with it or will need to be established or is already in our system. So if it's in the dialer, and right now we're using Mojo Dialer, then you're going to call that list at least 3 times within that month, once a quarter. So a quarter is 3 months. So yeah, we may call a lead. We have some of this where we've called 10 times over, you know, a year and a half. And there's things that you can do with that if you haven't been able to contact them. Because once we're able to contact them, you should be able to get a yes, no, or maybe and move them out of that list. If we haven't been able to contact them, that means we're either not calling at the right time, or we can take that list and find other ways to, like, you know, contact them, whether just go ahead and direct mail, go ahead and see if set up a text, because people communicate in different ways. Or when that prospector needs a list to call, then they can go back to that one. Obviously, they don't have as much priority as the newer list, but I don't mind beating up the list. I think a list should be called at least 3 times every quarter. And again, with priority for the other list. So I may need to put language in there for priority for the, you know, newer list. But and it doesn't mean we don't export that list. Again, another thought from Brian, and try to do other things with it, such as I already said, you know, the direct mail, or maybe taking it back to some private investigators to really find. And that's an awesome thing. If you can't find a contact the seller, quite often other people can't contact them. And if you go the extra mile to find that seller, you have even better chance of serving and locking up the deal and doing some juicy deals there. And so you'll notice a lot of the language is the same on these next ones, but there are some slight variances. So basically, when we call, I like our team to call. If you don't get them, then send them a text. There's some people who say call, text, call. but I like to call and send a text. And that's if you're in the CRM, the Customer Relation Management System. And the CRM we use is RESimpli. Shout out to RESimpli. If you need, just go check it out. There's a ton of great things. Yeah, you can do a lot of stuff, not just following up with your leads, but skip tracing, cold calling, driving for dollars, list stacking, keep your key performance indicators. You can do so many things with RESimpli. Speak to your team members, and we actually have affiliation. So with it, so whatever you call it, disclaimer or whatever. But if you wanted to try it out and get a discount, you go to resimpli.com/aquateam and check it out. So those new leads that just came over, and there's no contact. I mean, technically it was contacted by our sales prospector Q, but we don't have the contact yet in the CRM. We'll have a drip where we just attempt to call them, text once a day. This is until we get in contact once a day for the first 10 days, call, text, first 10 days, and then attempt to call, text them once a day every 3 days for 4 weeks. Attempt to call, text once a week for 4 weeks. And I think right now we actually have it set up where it's once every other day. And that's because we want folks to get used to the system and all. But there's a corresponding drip campaign. It's like acquisitions manager or lead manager or acquisition sales manager. And that indicates who is primarily going to within that drip, and then the follow-up. And so in RESimpli, again, one of the features are you can set up automatic drip where it will automatically tell the lead manager, oh, let me call or text this person once, or call this person once a day. And it's already on their calendar, already in their task, ready to go. And there are even some text messages that are embedded in there. And if they do respond to the text message, not only have we set it up where they can either stop the drip, but also our lead manager is so on top of it. Her whole job is to make sure that no leads get left behind. So she sees that communication and makes sure that the team member sees it. And for the third backup, there is still a task for the team member to say, hey, check and see if this person responds to this text. So if you're texting them, don't worry about, well, in our team, don't worry about like not responding, because we have like 3 ways of making sure that we see if they responded and all. And then after 3 days, every 3 days for 4 weeks, it will go to once a week for 4 weeks. And trust me, y'all, there are people out there, a lot of these leads are folks who have issues or challenges. And sometimes it can be like the ostrich effect. I know I have done it. Now, maybe a couple of things I'm still doing it on where like, I'm like, man, I know I need to deal with this, but life keep happening. So don't think that because you haven't contacted somebody in 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, that lead is not a good lead. Again, we're in front of these folks pretty early in their sales process. And just like that mattress firm ad that you keep getting in the mail, you're not thinking about that until, oh, one day I need a daggone mattress. And what am I thinking about? The mattress firm, you know what I'm saying? So you have to constantly, we're marketers at this point. We have to constantly market. So don't be discouraged out there, and please put it on some type of system. RESimpli is dope. There's other systems that are out there. Shit, I used to use excuse my language, but I used to use Google Calendar and have it set up. Now that was not sustainable because my Google Calendar got crazy. But when I first started off, I just had a Google Calendar and reoccurring, and I would just click on that day and click the next item, make the calls, and move forward and all. But yeah, trust me, the reason I'm saying that is then you don't have to like carry the heavy weight in the back of your brain, like, hey, who I'm supposed to call today? Who I'm supposed to call today? Oh my goodness, nah, just get your mind right, get in front of the dialer, smile and dial, and look at the notes and keep on rocking. But eventually after that, you tip the text for once a week for 4 weeks, it will go back to the lead manager. And I don't even know how many days it is, like after 3 months or something. It'll go back to the lead manager so that that we can decide, is there another way we want to call? We may just want to keep doing the drip or do a little more discovery. And really, you guys, that really is the same cadence for all of these with one, because the reason it's like that is because if it's a warm lead, then eventually it's going to get sent to become a hot lead, or they're going to not want to sell anymore. Then they'll go to not interested, which is down here. And then we have our own cadence for not interested. But these hot leads, they should technically, you should technically be able to send them to close, or eventually you made an offer and they're not interested. So it's going to go back there. Now, the one difference is, let's say you or one of us make an offer. Now I'm calling them bad boys twice a day. I got a contract out there, and I'm not talking about everybody gets an offer even if they say no. I'm talking about, hey, we talked, we're good, it looks cool, you made an offer, you went over the contract, you're supposed to get it signed. For whatever reason, you weren't able to stay on the phone with them or stay in the house and get it signed. Now you're like, wait, what happened? They probably are shopping your daggone deal around, and we train on making sure that we try to prevent that, but it happens. And that time you're calling and texting twice a day, just trying to make sure we get that thing locked up. And then it still goes back to the similar cadence after a couple of weeks. Now, not interested, this is one of the arts, because not interested could seem very different depending on the lead, right? But by and large, not interested, they start getting a text in 2 weeks, every 2 weeks. Or if there's like not interested at this time, call me back in 6 months, you generally cut that down like to 3 months. Whatever the seller says, you generally, by and large, cut it down in half, because again, you want to get in front of them. I'm not ready to sell till the next year. Call them back next year. All right, awesome. You're calling them back in 5 months. And we also do have I should add another thing up here. Impressions, I think I call it, or touches. I don't know what I'm gonna call it. And I'll type it up later, but you'll know that when you do the impressions and touches, that's for folks who you just, we also have another one for relationships. All right, I'm thinking out loud now. But impressions and touches is like, it can be embedded in some of these follow-ups too. So it's like, you're not always saying, hey, you ready to sell, you ready to sell. Sometimes your impressions and touches could be like, hey, I drove past Carolina and I was thinking about you, Or the other day I text somebody, man, I saw a bunch of fat boys sitting outside, Harley sitting outside Fed Hill property. Literally I did. And I was like, we're just thinking about you, So it's us staying front of mind, being humans, as me and Q were talking about yesterday, and staying connected. What's up, Just? Hold it down, man. Your seller coming by tomorrow at 4, man. That's dope. Closing on a deal with REI.just. You all go check him out. Young, awesome wholesaler out here in Baltimore. Need some deals closed? I'll let your boy. He made it happen. So like an impression and touch, that's sort of like a philosophy, but I think we're going to create a drip for that too. And I'm starting to use a CRM I've been using it for just any relationship. Like I'll throw, maybe it's a seller or buyer I want to stay connected with. Maybe it's a buyer that, hell, they can be members. Hey, I've actually turned one buyer into a guest on the Capacity to Be REI meetup, so that we could, continue to add value. Shoot, I want a CRM for just friends in general, so I can text and remember like to call my aunts and uncles. I'm not the best at staying in touch with my extended family, so I might just give them a number for Simply and be like, yo, let me call Mary Jean every 3 months or something like that, But anyways, I like those type of things, and what's great about having a dope team, you heard me mentioning Q and Brian so much, is that they're always thinking of awesome ways. Every day I'm thinking of how to make this better, but I specifically spend time on Saturdays and Sundays carved out where I'm just using thinking time, thinking of ways to make things better. I'm looking for my book. There's a book that I use called The Road Less Stupid. And this dude, I don't know where that book is. It's somewhere around here. But anyways, this guy, it's over there. That's too far away. Anyways, The Road Less Stupid, great book, 2 to 3 page chapters where he just asks you as a CEO, owner, different things to think about. And at the end, you have like different questions, whether it's about culture, processes, whatever it is, but it is a great way to take somebody else's experience and think deeply and mind that acres of diamonds that you got right here above your neck. This is where you're gonna find all the gold and diamonds that you could ever need. Yeah. Oh, I like that. REI.just, Justin talking about, I'll shoot you a text regarding picking up the checks. I like that. Let's talk about picking up them checks, man. I think yours is Castle can mail it to you overnight, or they might even be able to wire it to you. I like picking up my checks too. I just like having that text touch my hand. All right, so gentlemen, I know I'm bumbling and babbling, but I hope that at least this is helpful. I hope we can start fleshing this out, and I would love any of your thoughts or feedback What are y'all thinking? What you thinking, Q?
I mean, I haven't had much experience with Simply, but I mean, I like most of the stuff is like basically staying on top of your leads, and that's something you kind of really got to stay aware of. I feel like in this because, like you said, it's not just you calling, it's other people calling, and these are people at the end of the day, and they have their own lives, and we can't control things. The only thing we can control is how much we get our name out there and how much we can talk to those people. So, just gotta remember that.
Boy, so smart, so wise, man. I love our conversations, man. Heck yeah. What you thinking, B?
Yeah, I mean, I think that sometimes we forget how many attempts it actually does take. So just having proper perspective that it may not be the first time or second time or fifth or sixth time. That consistency and that persistence is what separates us from the competition.
And that's one of our unique policies. Every morning, y'all see me writing, follow up and follow through. That's one of the things we do. We help people. Person-centered services based in integrity. Follow up, follow through, and believe we all can win. Heck yeah! I'm gonna connect this to outwitting the devil, to Think and Grow Rich, to all this stuff about like leveraging time, compound effect, atomic habits. Repetition breeds awareness. So like if you're marketing or anything, you gotta repeatedly put yourself out there. Now I know I said that already, but I'm thinking about this also when it comes to like just having positive habits, feeding your brain positively, I was listening to The Magic of Thinking Big, and he was like, yo, people, you gotta put gas in your car every now and then. You wouldn't put dirt in your car. So why not give yourself a pep talk every day or affirmations every day or anything every day? And then we're just like you're saying, Brian, if we are showing follow-up, that we are consistently following with folks, that shows them that awareness, and that awareness leads to faith. Like I got a golf club. I know I'm all over the place, but trust me, in my mind, it connects. My golf swing is finally starting to get there. I'm like, my body's finally like, okay, through repetition, oh, I know what I'm doing. Whether you cold call, the more you cold call, your competency you feel stronger, you have more faith. You're literally creating those neural pathways to make it easier, where it digs from your conscious to your subconscious. Our sellers are becoming consciously aware of us and then having that faith that they can work with us. And we've gotten a couple of deals where folks is like, God dang, y'all follow up. Y'all are persistent. Y'all go get it. And if there are people out there who like, yo, leave me alone, stop calling me, and we've had those, then we just leave them alone and we stop calling them. But we move on to the next, you know what I'm saying? So I love how things connect. Repetition breeds awareness, follow up, follow through. And also clarity is kindness. So again, thank you, Brian, for helping us start to establish like even clearer expectations and systems. That's really gonna help us in general, man. I appreciate you. Yeah. Well, I know it was a little different type of sales training today, but I definitely thought that was important to share. I'm about to cut this and put it on YouTube for the world, and then share it with our team so that we can continue to grow and continue to evolve and all that stuff, man. I appreciate you guys. Any parting thoughts or words y'all want to leave with folks?
Just like you said, it's just repetition, determination, all that stuff, like things we go over every day. You just can't forget to do it over and over and over again, even if it feels tedious. So.
All right, appreciate that. Yeah, like even the one we're closing on tomorrow, Justin, that deal, I've did like I've maybe 10 different offers to Donald. And I've been speaking to him for over like a year or so. And he came back to us when he was ready. I knew he was gonna be ready because what he needed it wasn't making sense with what he wanted. And I knew he knew we were gonna keep calling. So yeah, this stuff works if you do, man. I appreciate you guys. All right, gentlemen. Rising tides lifts all sails. I'm about to actually bump off of both Instagrams and get right back on in like 2 minutes. But I'm gonna cut it out because I like this segment and let it be separate from just the do RA deals calls. Rising tide, folks. Peace.